stuff. So it's funny when people have conspiracy like, oh, maybe Joe burned Kyle or something behind this. It's like,
that's weird.
Actually, to be fair to him, one thing I will say that's positive about him is
what's going on, you guys. Today we have Kyle Kulinski going against Joe Rogan. Kyle Kulinski is saying how in the future he is going to deal with Joe Rogan now that Rogan has burned his bridge with the left. Let's tune in. I'm giving my commentary as well.
Shame these people who are arrogantly incorrect about everything they say. And that's why I am where I am now. And that's why you see me be so aggressive because, I do feel I feel like burned, right? Like, I feel like I tried my best, I failed, and now it's incumbent on me to make clear. Because now you see even like liberal media now, mainstream media is like, oh, maybe Kamala should have went on Joe Rogan. It's like, you guys are missing the fucking point. Like, you're all missing the point.
Yeah.
You're all missing. He's not the same guy he was. There was a time when his audience was like 50-50 left and right. And that's when I was on there. And then it became plus 30 or 40 MAGA, whatever it is now. And it's like, now it's like going to talk to Rush Limbaugh. It's not like, it's not worth it. He's not George Carlin. He's Rush Limbaugh. He's not Bill Hicks. He's Sean Hannity. Right. And so
he's
we got to call
gone.
that. Yeah, he's gone. We got to call.
We
got to call it what it is. Right. And so that's why you see my anger, because if there was going to be, like, he was a Bernie to Trump pipeline guy, but the idea that those are the people you can target and change their minds, it's not true. All the evidence in the world is you're more likely to flip the liberals, the standard Democrats, or the apolitical independents. Those are the ones who there's an open door where you can really make the arguments and flip them. Maybe you'll get 2% or 3% of like the so-called populist right. But by and large, they're gone, man. And the fact is they're willing to shove their head in the sand and not acknowledge what we already know about Trump's record. And that's the problem, is like, if I already explained to you all the warmongering, all the anti-worker policies, all the corruption, and you still support Trump, then clearly those things are not a deal breaker for you. And so I'm going to stop wasting my breath on you and go to the liberals, who will probably change their mind, because there's somebody out there right now who's like a Pete Buttigieg stan or a Gavin Newsom stan, or, they have a Kamala picture for their Twitter bio. And it's like, that person is actually persuadable more so than the Joe Rogan types and his audience.
We can save them. Yeah. So in your defense, I don't think that it was stupid. Like, I don't think you look stupid trying to get Joe Rogan to see the light, because even if you can't affect Joe Rogan, I think that process and the arguments that you make for those kinds of people, it still resonates with some members of his audience.
And I've said this before, but I'm going to say it one more time. You won't see Joe Rogan calling out Trump for Virginia, I think it's Giuffre, the Epstein victim. She was 16 years old. Her dad worked very close with Trump, and she was working at Mar-a-Lago whenever she was introduced to Epstein and Maxwell. That you will not hear about that. You will not hear about that from Joe Rogan. You won't hear about that from any of these people that are talking about, oh, we're looking for the truth. Oh, we just want to get down to the truth. Whenever it comes to Epstein and Trump's relationship, you will never, ever hear anything regarding close to a true statement.
And I don't think that, like, I don't know how big of an impact people like us have. I think you certainly have a bigger impact than me, but I think that the minimal impact that we have, that does matter. The few people that we can convince, that does matter. So I think that it's never a wasted effort to try to get people to see the light. One thing that I always try to not be super cynical about people, even though I am very cynical, but I think that what I'm beginning to realize is that you really have to disaggregate like the influencers from just regular people. Like, if somebody is a factory worker who had all of Joe Rogan's beliefs, you can reach that person. Joe Rogan, on the other hand, he's partying it up with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, or he's going to go to Mar-a-Lago or something.
Right.
So you can't reach that kind of a person who lives in a different world than us. He is 100 millionaire. He's not going to be seen. So one thing I will say is, when I saw your video of Rogan's interview with Trump, I watched it and I'm like, oh shit, Kyle's not getting that invite back. that bridge is burned.
Yeah, I never cared about that stuff though. That's the thing. Like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Some people, of course, have conspiracies of like, oh, did Joe burn Kyle, and that's why he's reacting like this, bro? Anybody who knows me will tell you. Even by like the second or third time I went on Rogan's show, I was like, all right, this is cool. But damn, I got to hop on a plane. damn, I got to break my schedule. Like, I am the most schedule-oriented person you've ever met. I'm definitely, like, on the spectrum, and I'm one of those people where if you change my schedule, I don't like it. I lose it. I'm unhappy with it. I feel out of place. I feel uncomfortable. I don't like it, right? So by the second or third time I went on, it was like, all right, this is cool, but also it's a little bit of a chore. And by the fourth or fifth time, it was like, I've been there, done that. Like, it's not that, like, none of that matters to me in the slight. Like, I couldn't care less about that stuff. So it's funny when people have conspiracy, like, oh, maybe Joe burned Kyle or something behind this. It's like,
that's weird.
Actually, to be fair to him, one thing I will say that's positive about him is most people in this space, if you actually start saying negative things about them and their politics, you might get an angry text message or something. Joe hasn't said shit to me. And that's to his credit, because it's going to fucking land on deaf ears anyway. I'm going to delete the text and I'm going to delete his number. And
like I said, I think that it's good that Joe Rogan is going on his own. I think that it's important that he goes his own way for a while, because if he is, whatever he's doing this for, whatever he's going with Trump and with the conservative movement for, he's going to realize eventually that he's not going to be happy, following this movement, that, it might not be the best to continue to push this, may the strongest survive, or, oh, we don't need to help the ones that are in need, or, they can all figure it out by themselves. I'm actually the victim. Maybe he goes down this road and he finds out that, hey, he heals himself, and, he stops victimizing himself. He stops letting these propagandists sell him on the idea that there's a savior.
Put him on the, don't respond list, right? So credit to him on that front. But look, I guess my point is, moving forward, for me, it's instead of being the, and Destiny makes this point too with his debates with conservatives. He went and debated Ben Shapiro, and in the aftermath, he was like, you know what? I was too conciliatory. There were a number of times where he said things where my response should have been like, you're a fucking idiot, and let me tell you why that's 100% wrong. But instead, he went the diplomatic route of like, oh yeah, I see where you're coming from, but here's how I disagree in this narrow way. And then the thing that people take away watching it is like, I don't know, it seemed like Destiny was more conciliatory than Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro was more clear and strong in his language and his positions, therefore it leaves the impression of like Ben Shapiro got the best of him, right? And that's how I feel now too, looking back at these conversations. You got to be strong, and you got to be direct, and you got to be clear, and when something's wrong, you got to be like, that's wrong, and here's why that's wrong, as opposed to, oh, I see what you're saying, let me hold your hand and walk you. It's like that. I'm over that, because it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I'd rather, and by the way, also Trump's a good example of this too, right? Trump is the most divisive figure in modern American political history. He was talking about Arnold Palmer's dick and immigrants eating cats and dogs, and he won the election. And it's like, people don't, the whole like, oh, I'll meet you halfway or whatever. People don't care. They don't like that. It feels weak. And then here comes Trump like a wrecking ball, like a bull in a china shop, who's like, everybody's wrong about everything. If you disagree with me 1%, you're horrible and irredeemable. And that's why I'm right. And people go, okay, he ended up winning, even the popular vote. And so that self-assuredness and that directness needs to be something that all of us embrace, because to this point, we're always more conciliatory and, oh, hey, I hear you, but think of this. And it's like, no more of that. I'm fed up, bro. I'm done. I'm 36 years old. I feel like I'm 106. It's time to stop any of the tap dancing bullshit and get to the point.
And I mean, talk about things that you like and don't like. Kyle doesn't like Joe Rogan getting misled by the conservative propaganda machine. I don't like these corporations whenever they are, I'm all for inclusivity. Do not get me wrong. But I am all for inclusivity whenever it is not divorced from class struggle. I don't care about these corporations whenever they are making it such a big deal. I mean, nobody's noticing it, but they're making it such a big deal about, DEI. They're wanting this to be the main argument, right? And like I said, I am all for inclusivity. But whenever you're going to have these things and virtue signal this and that, and then still have these unions, still bust these unions, still not want to, that is not what the goal is, because we can see now that Trump is in office, they don't care. They've taken away all of this crap. They've taken away the DEI. So I think that this has been a long time coming of call out the corporations for their bull crap for the first place. Like, again, I am going to say what I like and I don't like. I don't like whenever the inclusivity, whenever these movements are divorced from the class struggle. I think that's something that's very important to me. And I think that as more and more people say that, we can have honest conversations about how to move forward, especially whenever there are conflict of interest. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.